Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. I hope that you are doing fine. I am Dr. Muhammad Ismail Abbasi. I'm working as an assistant professor in higher education department. Today in this session, I would like to talk about English tenses, and my focus in this recording would be upon the utility of past tense. Past tense, as in the pictures and the images displayed before you, is related to a time, an activity, an action that took place in the past time, in the time that has already passed or the time that has already gone. In this time period, we see that this is a time when an activity or a situation began and ended at a particular time in the past. In other words, when an activity or a situation is completed in the past. It is used to refer to past habits. There are various examples of these tenses, and it, like, he was late to the class yesterday, the action that is completed in the past. We arrived 3 weeks ago, completed in the past. So both these indicate that actions were taken places, or the actions took place already in some past or in the time that has already gone. There are some indicators such as last night, week, last week, previous week, last year or previous year, similarly last month or last Saturday, in previous semester, yesterday, ago. So here we can see that there are various usages of this particular tense that I would like to talk from the book that I wrote for Allama Iqbal Open University. And in this particular book, where we wrote for B.Ed, that is 2.5 years, and in this the code number is 6468. So in today's session, I would like to see that how past tense has been utilized as an active tense that can be used and utilized to tell about some actions or some stories or some things that already took place in the time that is already gone. So when we see that this particular past tense, so we remember in our childhood until today, in our grown up years, we could see that we are told stories, and there are some moral lessons in the stories that we are asked to narrate or recreate. So, one of those famous stories is The Thirsty Crow or The Pyasa Kavva, which all of the students who have gone through the high school and primary school, they are familiar with this particular story. And in this story, the crow thought hard for a while, then looked around it. He saw some pebbles. He suddenly had a good idea. He started picking up the pebbles one by one, dropping each into the jug. As more and more pebbles filled the jug, the water level kept rising. Soon it was high enough for the crow to drink. His plan had worked. So here you can see that how this particular story, which is taken from the excerpt of children's moral story A Thirsty Crow, in paragraph, you can see the story is narrated in past tense and second form of the verb is utilized to show the action of the past time. The verb thought, saw, had, started, filled, and kept express the action in the past and show past indefinite action. Simple past tense usually means the action ended in the past, so actions that had already happened quickly, actions that happened over a time, or actions that were the habits in the past. The simple past tense is used principally to express the events of the past. First, that we can see that how in 6.10.1 the actions finished or events finished are indicated in the simple past tense. For example, William Shakespeare wrote Hamlet. Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492, which Native Americans would strongly contest this particular idea of white narratology, where they think that Christopher Columbus did not discover America, rather, he was lost, and America was already lying there intact in the control and supervision of Native Americans. Second thing, past habitual actions. I visited them every day for a year. I drove to work every day when I worked with that company. So these are the habits that remained in practice in the past time. Third one, events that were true for some time in the past. He lived in Paris for 20 years. For example, they talked on the phone for 10 minutes. So these are the examples of the events that were factually correct in the past time. Fourth, usage of past indefinite tense tells us that it can be used in different contexts. For example, I arrived home at 5 o'clock, so this happened in the past. Yesterday, I worked on my math homework for 3 hours. This happened over the time in the past. Likewise, when he was 5, my son watched the drama serial Anak Wala Jinn every day. This happened in the past. So people are familiar with this particular drama in the past, and people were like in our childhood we were crazy about it because the opportunities of entertainment at that time were very lesser and only a few channels were available. So likewise there are many examples that had happened in the past. You can go through these particular examples and see that how the actions in the past took place and these sentences indicate these particular action. So there is a table in 6.10.5. In this table, there are affirmative sentences. I went, you walked, he, she, it drove the car, we went, they walked. So these are the examples of singular and plural pronouns. Questions, when we make question form or interrogative form, we use the helping verb which is did, and we take it at the start of a sentence and then we simplify the form of the verb and we convert the past form of the verb into simple present. For example, you can see the examples. Did I say? Did you appeal? Did he, she, it move? So the simple sentences would be I said, you appealed, he, she moved. So, in order to convert, we had to put interrogative, and that interrogative was indicated through the utility of the helping verb, which is did in this particular case. Did we, they write a letter Likewise, when composing the negative sentences, I did not, I didn't, you did not walk, I did not eat, and you or he, she, it did not talk, we didn't sing, you didn't go, and they didn't come. So here you can see that the rule of construction or formation for formulation are almost similar for all the personal pronouns irrespective of their singular or plural status. Past indefinite tense is formed by the usage of second form of the verb. Ed is added in the regular form of the verb. Walk plus ed walked, talk plus ed talked. Whereas among irregular verbs, second form is made by the change of the verb, like drive into drove, go into went, and copy into copied. Negative sentences are made by changing second form of the verb into first form along with the addition of didn't. She did not finish the book. While making the interrogative of the verb did is put at the start of the sentence. The example would be, did you perform your duty? Formation of past tense, generally past tense is in regular verbs is formed by adding of ed and verbs ending in ed or d only, like hate, hated. Similarly, the same form is used for all three pronouns. For example, I, we, you, he, she, it, they. So, first person, second person, and third person. All these pronouns would take the same form or will be taking the apparently similar form with everyone, irrespective of their singularity or plurality, which was not the case in present indefinite tense, where with first person and second person and third person plural the form was simple, and whereas in the case of he, she, it was different. In first, second, and third person plural it could be I, we, you, they talk, and in the case of third person singular, he, she, it talks. Whereas in the case of past indefinite tense, it is not the case. The form of the verb is available in the same shape with all the first person, second person, and third person pronouns. The negative is made by the addition of did not. The interrogative is made by the putting of did at the start of the sentence. So, spelling, there are rules in the change of forms of the verb. There are some rules. Let's look at those particular rules and see that how, while making the irregular verbs or converting those irregular verbs, what types of rules are used. So when the final letter is consonant and before it a vowel appears, then the last letter is doubled, such as stop, stopped, travel, traveled. Likewise, admit, admitted. So here you can see that the words or ideas keep on changing, the letters keep on changing with the change in the condition, with the change in the situation. Okay, now you can see I needed to correct this one mistake that was available in the example before you. So let me just correct, because it has extracted one particular page out of the book, and that editing has to be reversed. Okay, the next rule, you can see that there are some verbs that change the form for the second form and third form is the same. For example, abide, abode, abode. Likewise, arise, arose, arisen. It changes all three forms while making the past and past participle form. Similarly, awake, awoke, awoken. Like be, was, were, been, beer, bore, bore. And the examples you can read, they continue with the forms of be that are apparent before you, or with the letter B. Similarly, there are other letters such as with the forms the letters of C, such as can, could, like cast, catch, caught, choose, chose, chosen. So these are called as irregular verbs. So these irregular verbs have completely changed the second and third form of the verb. Therefore, we have provided you the list, and that is available in these particular tables that are displayed before you. So there are various activities that we could use while making, or while converting, or while practicing this particular tense. For example, you could show the audience or the interviewer about your actions that took place. For example, you can tell us about the story of the previous weekend that you spent at home or at some historical place. So you can narrate that particular activity, and you can assign that to yourself, and you can write it, and you can narrate it to the others. Likewise, you can practice the sentences or ideas where you can convert the forms of verb from simple form of verb to negative and interrogative. And similarly, you can also create scenarios where you have to use past tense. For example, when you went to a restaurant with a fellow or with a colleague. So likewise, there are many activities that could be created while utilizing this particular tense. So this particular tense is important, especially when narrating the stories and short stories. In short stories, it is usually utilized, and especially answering back to the question when the question is asked in the past tense. So whenever and wherever you are asked a question in the past tense, so you have to tell the answer and about the same in the past tense as well. So if you have any question, any query, any problem related to these particular ideas or the concepts, you can reach me out. Stay tuned, stay happy, and stay blessed, and make others happy and blessed. Allah Hafiz.